almost a month before Charlie Kirk was killed, he said Charlie Kirk fears that Israel will kill him if he continues ahead.
Charlie Kirk feared Israel would kill him? We're here to tell you, you're not allowed to think about that. In the wake of the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk, as vile people celebrate online only to get fired from their jobs for being vile scumbags with no moral character, there are some Charlie Kirk supporters that are asking questions. And questions like, okay, the shooter had a transgender boyfriend, but I'm not falling for that distraction. He was afraid he was going to be killed by Israel. Shouldn't we look into that? Well, you absolutely should not, because based on the official report we've obtained from Israel about the JFK assassination, attempt on Trump, and Charlie Kirk assassination, it's just a lone gunman. Nothing more. Yet people like Candace Owens continue to ask questions and bring up things like suspicious looking evidence. Another ludicrous individual asking questions and reporting so-called information is journalist Max Blumenthal, who wrote an article entitled "Charlie Kirk refused Netanyahu's funding offer and was frightened by pro-Israel forces before death," friend reveals. So that you can understand what we forbid you to think and consider, let's hear from the author of that article, Max Blumenthal.
As we learned from a longtime friend of Charlie Kirk who had spoken to him, I would say a week or two before he was killed about this, he was afraid of Netanyahu, and he was afraid of these billionaire cutouts of Netanyahu, many of whom had funded his organization.
Charlie Kirk was afraid of Netanyahu? Why? Well, the theory is that Charlie Kirk and his Turning Point USA once towed the line on an above all else pro-Israel narrative. But in the not too distant past, apparently in his unapologetic pursuit of truth, Kirk stopped towing the line in favor of pointing out problems with the Israeli government in the name of truth.
Charlie Kirk has to answer to his own grassroots base, and you can hear he's starting to make some noises. He's talking about October 7th possibly being an inside job. Israel let it happen in order to carry out long-term political goals. He starts to question whether Jeffrey Epstein was an Israeli Mossad agent.
So he says, but Charlie Kirk would never really implicate Israel in anything. Would he?
Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, but there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer.
Oh. Well, tying Epstein and Maxwell to Israel is something we've always told you you're forbidden to do. It turns out Charlie did it, though. So there was allegedly backlash from Charlie's donors about this, as his donors so wisely tried to persuade a guy who stands for free speech into not saying anything negative about Israel. Makes a lot of sense. More on that from Candace Owens.
Essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman, because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on.
Well, turns out Charlie was a man of principle who couldn't be bought when donors would berate him to be silenced under the threat of withdrawing their funding, and he would stay loyal to truth anyway. And Candace Owens' suspicion of Bill Ackman is completely off base. Bill put up a $1 million reward for whoever turned in the killer of Charlie Kirk, which was the killer's father. Which also means he's paying $1 million to the family of Charlie Kirk's killer. But that's not the way Bill would prefer you to look at it, so let's just move on. Charlie Kirk couldn't be bought, but what happens when he got a call from Netanyahu himself?
I learned is in private, the pressure was even more intense. And at some point, Netanyahu personally called him and offered to basically fund his organization to new levels that he never even imagined, which meant Zionist Israeli takeover, complete recapture of TPUSA, an organization they basically helped create. And Charlie Kirk turned him down.
Charlie Kirk turned him down? Well, it seems a little far-fetched that Netanyahu would call Kirk in the first place. I don't believe that. This just in! Benjamin Netanyahu offered Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA $150 million in cash to adopt an even more ardently pro-Israel stance. Kirk refused the money. Alright, whatever. But I wonder how one feels after they reject a bribe from Netanyahu.
Charlie Kirk fears that Israel will kill him.
Oh yeah, that's right. kind of makes sense. Well, these aren't things to think about. These are things we don't want you to think about. Well, that's it for today's news. And remember, the best way to honor the life of a great man is not to worry about truth and justice, and just take comfort in the certainty that comes with our lone gunman end of story narrative. Good night. And sincerely, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. You'll be forever loved and missed. Hey, did you know there's one phase of sleep that almost everyone doesn't get enough of? And this one phase of sleep is responsible for most of your body's daily rejuvenation, repair, boosting energy, weight loss hormones, controlling appetite, and so much more. I'm talking about deep sleep. And a big reason why many people don't get enough of this most important phase of sleep is because they're magnesium deficient. Over 80% of our population is. And magnesium increases GABA, which encourages relaxation at the cellular level, and that's critical for deep sleep. Magnesium also plays a key role in regulating your body's stress response system. Those with magnesium deficiencies typically have higher stress levels, which even further negatively impacts sleep. Now, before you go buy just any magnesium supplement, you should know that most on the market only have 1 or 2 weak forms of magnesium that are hard for your body to absorb and utilize. That's why I love Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers. With all 7 forms of magnesium designed to help calm your mind, help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. The deep sleep benefits are very noticeable. For an exclusive offer, go to bioptimizers.com/JP and use promo code AWAKEN for 15% off at checkout. And if you subscribe, not only will you receive amazing offers and free gifts, you'll also ensure your monthly supply is guaranteed. That's bioptimizers.com/JP.